Yep.
You've already mentioned a few idols, which is Bob Roberts, Ed Hardy, and what other artists were a big inspiration for you?
Well, Ed would definitely be number one, I would say, as far as all that. Just I always loved his style, and the fact that he just kept innovating and everything is amazing. And I always loved Bob's traditional approach to it and the simplicity of that. And then the other main influence was Jack Rudy, which is a whole other ballpark there. But yeah, there's Bob. But
There's Jack.
yeah, and I met Jack when I was at JC Flies. Jack was sometimes traveling to the East Coast and he would sit in. So I actually met Jack. I always remember it was right around Father's Day because we went looking for Father's Day cards together. But that would have been when is Father's Day? June or something. So it of
In the
19.
US, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, because
we,
in Portugal it's usually in March, so I don't know which dates here. I'm not familiar with it.
But yeah, that's when I met Jack, and then actually he ended up staying overnight with us, and to have the place to stay while he's sitting in at the shop there, and he was very nice about helping me with a lot of stuff because I was really, really, really green at that point, and I'm real good friends with Jack now more so. I know Bob, a little bit, and I worked at Ed Hardy's, and I know Ed pretty well, but Jack I talk to all the time. And yeah, that's one of the last times I saw Ed Hardy there, and that was
Hardy.
Yeah, that's an art show that Ed had a few years back now, I guess. He had that amazing thing at the museum up there, and that's
the Young in San Francisco.
Yeah, yeah, that was amazing. He had one whole floor there, and the amount of work that guy has put out through the years and the influence he's had, at least on a generation of tattooists. I don't, now there's so many other people. Oh yeah, that's a response that he was nice enough to write me. I forget when that one says. I can't see that far with my glasses from where I'm
I think you asked something from him and he replied about his sets and Ed Hardy. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked if he was selling flash and that kind of thing. And then he was talking about tattoo time, I think, as he mentioned that. But yeah, I kept that. I collect everything. And yeah, I have tons of stuff from well, not 20 now, 30, 40 years ago almost.
Which is incredible.
That's my address when I still lived in Altoona. So I left there in 82. So that would have been 82 or earlier. And I saw a book called The Tattooist. And way back when it was really hard to find anything on tattooing. And I saw that in the back of Easy Riders. And that's, bought the book, and it mentioned Ed in there and everything. And just, it didn't have a whole lot of photos, but just I got the gist that this is the guy, and I had the nerve to write him, and he was nice enough to write back. And I got in touch with Paul Rogers around the same time for the same reason. I think from that book, The Tattooist, and I'm pretty sure Ed Hardy had mentioned this is the guy to get machines from. And I wrote to Paul, and at the time I didn't have the money to buy these machines, but he kept corresponding anyway. Paul really loved to correspond with people. And when I was working the fairs with Red and Duke had a Paul Rogers machine, and I used it, and I was like, wow, this shader really works well. So as soon as I made money at the fair, then I did buy Paul Rogers machines the first time I had the money to do it.
You mentioned that you had worked with Ed Hardy 1 week per month for about 4 years, which is a long time. Explain how it was to work with Ed Hardy, and what did you learn from him, other than the aesthetic of his work and all the creations, but did you learn anything in the actual shop with him?
Well, I was up there because my second wife was going to school up there. And that's why I asked Ed if I could sit in, because I wanted to see her occasionally. So that's how that happened. And honestly, I acquainted with a lot of the younger guys up there, but Ed was the person I knew the best. And I felt, I have to say, I was pretty nervous about asking him if I could sit in, but fortunately he was very receptive to it. And I forget how many days a week I was there, or, when I did go up, it was, I think, 4 or 5 days in, in a week span, and I just go once a month. But, and at that point, I saw him do his last tattoo 2 or 3 times, I think. And, just watching him work, and I have work on me by Ed. He gets in a real zone when he's working, which is very, it's really cool to see that. And Khalil, that works up there and who I introduced to Ed. But anyway, he said